many of us that are pursuing the Hebraic roots of our faith, and uh, and the Messianic community want to know what our genetic heritage is. Our genetic heritage. So many people have gone out to Ancestry.com or some other genetic companies. Then they can tell you what's in your DNA, where you've come from, and who your people were, and where your roots are, and where we can find the mixture of your life, so to speak. Well, here's this article from the Huffington Post. Now, Huffington Post is not a place that I usually go to, but it's bringing out the point here where it says a judge says police can search company's entire DNA database. I mean, since we're talking about the life of Sarah, why not talk about our genetics, right? And let's take a little twist on what's going on here and what the ramifications of this is. And this is exactly what privacy advocates have been afraid of for years. So Sarah Boboltz brings this in the Huffington Post and says that a Florida detective successfully obtained a warrant to search the company GED Match's full database of user-provided genetic information, even if users had opted out of appearing in police search results, the Huff Post has confirmed. The warrant, signed by a judge in Florida's 9th Judicial Circuit Court in July, will likely earn praise from law enforcement and criticism from privacy advocates wary of how DNA databases could be abused. It appears to be the first warrant of its kind. Orlando Police Department Detective Michael Fields disclosed its existence during the International Association of Chiefs of Police conference in Chicago last week. And so that's been a couple weeks ago. Fields told the Times, that the warrant has generated new leads, but no arrests. Public awareness of GED Match, a genealogy website and genetic database, rose sharply in April in 2018 when California authorities announced they had arrested Joseph James D'Angelo, the man they believed to be the Golden State Killer, using the site's publicly searchable data. D'Angelo is thought to have committed around 50 rapes and at least 13 murders in the 1970s and 80s. So this is an exciting moment for cold case investigators with this, because imagine how they can now utilize these genetic databases and search to track down rapists, murderers, anybody that's been evading the law, and bring closure to countless victims and families. At least that's how they are purporting it to be, or reporting it to be. But here, what's the other side of it? And that is, to others, however, the idea that the police could start infiltrating genetic databases was chilling, where GED Match began restricting law enforcement's use of its site in May, mandating that officers identify themselves on the site and only use it to search the profiles of those who had opted in to law enforcement searches. I don't know why you'd ever opt in, but maintaining consumer trust has long been vital to the biggest DNA testing companies, 23andMe and Ancestry. Both companies underscore their privacy policies to prospective customers and make a point to provide transparency reports about any law enforcement requests they receive. Whether those companies could face increased pressure to open up to law enforcement remains to be unseen. So, a twist in our privacy, that what we thought would be kept private is now, because it's in a database, and it can, any database can be hacked, but let alone now they have legal reason with a warrant to search databases. What do y'all think about that, Sandi?
Well, first off, I've told you can never do anything like that, because it will be made public, because of law enforcement and other nefarious people, government, etc., will get into those databases no matter what people guarantee, not only your DNA databases, but clouds and everything else. If you upload it, then they're going to get into it. because it just works that way. You know, they want to take away your rights. They want to, et cetera, et cetera. So this does not surprise me, but I think that it shouldn't be allowed. And this is very interesting. And this was a couple months ago, I was reading that DNA now is not infallible, that they've discovered that it is fallible, and there's some wrong things happening as well with it.
So the misuse of your own DNA, they can manipulate it, right? Okay, all right.
You're the producer. Wrong computer.
Let's get the right computer going on here. Okay, all right, Mark. What are your thoughts?
If I go down like that, I'm a floating head. Sandi used the double negative. Can't do that.
I know that's incorrect. So sorry.
Really, really, really bugged me when you did it. There you go. Now I'm a floating head with the message. See, I can't respond to this because I'm doing a segment on Sandi's show on Thursday about the same thing, and if I respond to it, then I might as well not do my segment on Thursday because it's the same thing. So the only thing I can say is watch The Great Hack on Netflix and tune in Thursday, same time, same channel, and hear the whole story of what it is. But no, I'm with you. The only thing, like in this show that I'm talking about, they actually got people's data to help sell things and to use for several instances. And what I like about those type of documentaries is that they really show the real thing, and they show an instance, a time when it really did happen, and the progression of why it happened. And some people will say that that's not really going on, or maybe it went on with the NSA a long time ago or something, but people aren't really doing that. And that's 100% not true, because there are all kinds of reports and whistleblowers and people out there now that are really letting it know that those things are out. People are doing that. The algorithms that they can build now to where they can get any information they want. I just see every time I talk about this, and I'm going over into my little spiel for Thursday, but whenever I think about these kind of things, I think of, it's the plan. It has been the plan of Satan all along that this progression happens, that the internet happens for good and for bad. For all things that are huge and mighty and great, there are good things about it and bad things about it. And you find no matter what it is that's good, and Satan can take that and twist it into people's twisted minds because they're not founded and mature in the Lord. He can take some good things and twist it just slightly enough to where you now doubt that validity of something, like putting things out there on Facebook, putting things, telling people stuff, or typing in your information. Well, surely, I'm no big deal. I'm a little guy. But in fact, 40 million or 2 billion little guys do add up to something that they can use and that Satan can twist. And I think that's what's happened is that it has just slowly gone up and down, in and out, especially since the internet. The internet has allowed Satan to be able to take specific things and use them against us, when in fact the Lamb Network being a very positive thing about the internet is that Satan takes the good things and uses them for the bad, but God's word and God can take anything that's bad and do it for good, use it for good. And that's what we're trying to do here. So I think that's kind of my point on all the data use and people, the way people see it. I'm trying to be to just hit highlights and not just say the whole thing, go into a long spiel, because I can go into a spiel about this the way I feel about it. But I think that that's the general concession of all of this. And your news story is that, it is a work of manipulators, and anybody that is a manipulator is not of God.
Right. And I look forward to that. By the way, I look forward to the show on Thursday. So y'all stay tuned. Same time as this show, Thursday. And what's the name of the show, Sandy?
The next
we're gonna do on the Great Hack.
The Great Hack is on, and it's the next chapter.
You're wanting that.
That was your cue.
Like, okay.
That was your cue. But so I want to throw something out, because I've heard this argument so many different times. If you have nothing to hide, what does it matter?
Well,
I mean, honestly, because that's most millennials.
That's what they say.
Most millennials, they don't understand privacy. In fact, they put everything out there. They go on to Facebook and TikTok and to
TikTok.
All these
one.
other different social medias and medios.
Sandy, will you?
Yeah.
Back off here. I just see. Come on.
But they put everything out there. They broadcast everything. They video. They upload. They let everybody know what's going on with their life. They put all their pictures and their life on
TMI.
And why not say, "Oh, I don't care about my DNA."
Yeah.
They will. Yeah. They will care when it's used against them.
But there is a generation like us that will say, "Wait a minute. We don't want our First Amendment rights. Well, we're not doing anything wrong or anything. We just don't want it to be used wrongly." And I think if anybody,
and there's still privacy. It's nobody's business.
Yeah. So we know, and we know from firsthand knowledge of how the justice system abuses their power. We see it going on in Washington with President Trump. We see how those systems are abused. They're manipulated and used by the powers that be. Those that want to remain in power, those that don't want to be, those that don't want to do the regular legwork like they're supposed to. They want to take shortcuts, and they want to take that information, manipulate it to get the outcome that they want it to be. Not necessarily the right outcome, but the outcome that they want it to be. And that's where the concern is. And, I've often thought about having my DNA run, but in the back of my mind, from the time that I first thought, "Hey, I'd like to find out about my DNA," I was like, but even once that blood sample goes into a database, at some point in time, who's going to change the laws that my blood type can be manipulated? Or let me put it in this way. Maybe it's not for a crime, but perhaps it's because they're looking for people that have a certain type of DNA by which they can say, "Wait a minute, you have a certain DNA that's going to could end up in this type of disease, and it's going to cost the insurance companies and the medical system this much money, and that's too much. So we're going to take you out now. It's time that your life come to an end, because we don't want to pay the price. You've already gone past your years anyway. I mean, think about Logan's Run, 30 years old. It's time to go. It's time to die. You become.
Well, I was thinking about this when you brought that up. Because we do know that organ harvesting is huge. And by the way, we just saw something where they're freezing little kids for their organs. They're freezing them live. Anyway, so all this is in the database, and you've got this highfalutin person who has lots of money, and they say, well, that person will match me perfectly. Well, they have the database now. Oh, well, we also know that every car you drive, if it's newer, can be hacked. In fact, there's been many deaths where people are killed on purpose, not only in vehicles, but other ways. We know that happens. So they get rid of you or take you or whatever the case may be, so they can harvest whatever they want or need from you.
Yeah.
Because it's all in a database.
That is a really good point, Sandy, because yeah, they need a certain organ match. Well, they don't. In China, what they do is they've been taking people and taking the prisoners, finding the match in the prisoners and using their organs. And yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I mean,
that's why the Hong Kong is they can put you in prison now for anything.
Yeah. And then ship you off to the gulag in China, so to speak, and then and have your organs harvested. And people are paying big bucks for those organs. And
well, not only that, but cloning. I mean, they've already cloned. All they have to do is find that match, clone it, use it, and they still have another one ready for the next one.
Yeah, DNA sequencing and all of that. But what about if you're in a database? You don't have to be sent off to some prison to possibly get your organs harvested. All they have to do is say, here's the population. Joe, yeah, he's not that much of
your number's up.
You're not that much a contributor to society. Your number's up. They just come up, black van, throw you in, and or we need to see you in the office. And with the totalitarian and authoritarian governments and the way that is, the other article I was actually leaning, it was actually going to be talking about totalitarianism, but with the way things are, we could see the rules change. We could lose our constitutional rights very quickly with a change in a power regime within this nation. And we could be months away. It could be years away, but it doesn't take much even for our nation here in the United States to swing that direction. And so just some things to talk about, some things to research out on your own and to check out, do some studying, and make sure that you become a voice then when these things pop up, because we don't need to be legislated from the bench. And if they ever bring it up to make law from Congress, that we need to be a voice for the protection of not only ourselves, but our children and our grandchildren as well. So just some thoughts there.
Can I add something to this?
Yeah.
My suggestion is more of when you go out to social media, and of course, we're talking to people that have already signed up for YouTube and they have their own YouTube account, and our station, gets people in. You can't watch shows without signing up for an account. You can't have Facebook without signing up for an account. You can't do anything without signing up for an account. And so my suggestion is that from now on, if you're going to sign up for a new account on some kind of social media or any website or anything within the internet, is to put in a fake name and put in fake information. Sign out of all of your Facebook stuff and sign in as a new account with all this fake information and all of that kind of stuff. And I mean, even when you do like radio shows like this, don't come in as your regular name, come in as a fake name, and then nobody will be able to say, oh, like, well, Mark Smith was on the Monday Let Us Reason Together. He was? Really? Where? Because I don't see him. I see Brad's Pitt is here, but I don't see that Mark Smith is actually on the show today. See?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, no matter what you do, always sign in as a how do I get it wrong with it? Sign in as a fake name, and then see, and then you'll be covered. And from now on, don't put anything in there that's true or real. I mean, is it lying?
Wait, isn't that what they already do?
What?
Isn't that what the news people already do? They don't put anything in there that's true or real.
There you go. So what difference does it make if you put in a bunch of fake information? What is that going to, I mean, of course, if you're going to use a credit card, yeah, you're going to have to put in the right stuff. But may I even submit then from now on, get credit cards with fake names and fake information? You know, then when you're doing stuff on the internet, they can't even follow you then. See,
Well,
so that's my little take.
That's really good. That's really good. And as we close out this segment, and this is kind of brings it up, perhaps you'll be bringing it up on Thursday as well. But
Right.
a virtual private network, a VPN, is a good way to is so that way, because they can track you based on your computer. But if you run it through a VPN, you can get lost in the network, and
How do you do that?
And so you just sign up for one of these VPN networks, and there's a low cost fee every month that you pay, and then you just run all of your whenever you do a search, whatever, they don't know who you are. You are anonymous on the internet, and that's another way to get around that system. And I do recommend that. We haven't done that yet, but it's a way to maintain our privacy in the internet as well.
It's very true.
There's some browsers out there that you can get, like a Tor browser. I think it hides your computer address as well. But anyway, more things to think about.
Let us reason together, says the Lord, come now. Let us reason together, says.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.